Good evening, everybody. This is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are from across the
pond.
So
Richard, my love, how are you?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
I'm good. Now, I know we like to discuss what happened over the weekend, but I've actually got something to tell you.
What?
So, we had a shout out on the radio last week, I think it was.
Yes.
I actually had a telephone call this afternoon, and we've actually been invited to do an interview with the radio station.
Whoa! Did you hear that, people? We gonna do an interview on TV. Oh, I said TV.
I know. Come on, don't get
Not yet.
excited.
Not yet. But yes, I am down for that.
We have got an interview. So yeah.
Oh wow! So that's gonna be like a telephone interview?
Like we're doing now, a Zoom interview. Like there's going to be me and you and the host interviewing us all on the same screen.
Ooh, is it possible we can record that and put that in?
It is going to be recorded, correct. And they're going to share it on their radio YouTube channel and on their radio website.
You hear that, people? Do you hear that, people? Yes.
That was my bit of news to share with you.
That's my dance. That's my dance. Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
I take it you're pleased about that.
Yes, I am. Very.
I have been bursting all afternoon to tell you, and I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to keep it till the show, and I'm going to tell you then. So.
Well, guess what, people? You heard it just as well as I've heard it, and I am excited. Yes.
So, what did you do at the weekend? Now we've got that out of the way.
Now that we got the chills running down my back out the way.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and have a little drink while you tell us what you did at the weekend.
You know what? I finally got rid of the tree that fell.
The one that fell down?
And I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it is pouring down raining. So I thank the man upstairs that tree is gone. Also, I watched a boxing match this weekend.
Really? Do you know what? Me too. So I'm really hoping that it's the same one.
Hold up. I know you're a boxing fanatic.
The biggest.
And you're like 5 hours ahead of me. So
listen,
you must be a diehard.
You can ask anybody that knows me. I don't care what time of day it is, pay-per-view or not. I'm paying, I'm setting the alarm, I'm getting up.
Okay, then. Now let me throw this out at you. Was it Terrence Crawford against Kell Brooks?
USA, UK, of course it was.
What? Let me find out. Now I'm going to tell you right now, for you people who missed it, Crawford cleaned his clock.
Oh, hold on. Let me just get this in there. On paper, it was a close call. Literally, one had done 41 fights, one had done 36. No one had any losses. So many knockouts for this one, knockout, whatever. I was thinking it was going to be down to the wire because I looked at the stats. Both dudes were in good shape. I'm not going to lie. It's the best shape I've seen Kell Brook in. Your guy, Crawford, looked in good shape. So I was like, do you know what? This is going to be a close call. How bloody wrong was I?
Yes, because he got his head cracked in the fourth round, and then he was like this. What happened? Is the fight over?
Mr. America.
Is the fight over?
To be fair,
everybody has ducked Terrence Crawford. I mean, I'm a big boxing fan, and he deserves to fight the best of the best. And I'm sorry, England, but
I'm not being mean.
Brooks got his head rocked.
Listen, the best man won on the night. He was quick. Mate, Kell Brook had the longest reach, had a longer reach. I'll give him that. But he didn't lay as many punches, man. So hats off to the USA.
Thank you very much. And today, to top off, my Eagles lost to the Giants, which is a division loss. Boo.
So does that mean they're out now? I don't know how it
No, no,
works
no, no.
then.
We're gonna keep playing, but our schedule is kind of rough after the Giants. So I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm at an utter disgust. But not to make a long story short, I took my frustrations out at the shooting range,
Oh, really?
and I just bought a new uh, uh, weapon of choice, which is a 12 gauge Mossberg. You know
Well, there, you are going to be making so many people jealous here. We aren't allowed guns.
what?
Yeah, you're not allowed guns. Not even
You
the
know what?
not even the police have guns. Let's just get
You
that
know
out.
what? Now that you say something, I watched a show. I got to think of it. It'll come to me later, or we'll do it on another. I watched a series where, yeah, y'all don't have, what y'all have, flashlights and billy sticks? What are y'all, nightsticks? What do y'all have?
What's a billy stick?
It's a stick that comes out and cracks you in the head with
Oh,
it with
like
a
a
little ball on
truncheon
the
type
bottom.
thing?
Huh?
Like a truncheon?
And what is that?
That's the stick
Explain
that
to
the
the
police
people.
wear in their belts. They just get out and bash you with it. Truncheon.
Yeah, a nightstick. Would
Yeah,
y'all
or
call
they
it a
have a
what?
taser. That's about it. And even the ones with tasers have got to have special qualification, license, whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
I did security for a
You
little
get
bit,
you
and we
could get
didn't get
locked
any
up over
guns.
here if you got a gun, man.
We had mace and some handcuffs. That was about it. That's about as far as my besides military, but that's as far as they gave me. But
Okay, but you were telling us about your
I
weapon.
got a 12 gauge shotgun, brand new. Oh,
Sorry, you've got a
awesome.
what shotgun?
Let me just show you a little stint of how
Hold on.
my
What did you say? A what shotgun?
it's a Mossberg. It's a brand of a shotgun. It's a brand.
Oh,
But let me show you how good it is.
oh
I'm
my
just going to
god.
give a little stint of my target. Let me hold you. Look here, people. That Mossberg ain't nothing to play with.
Whoa, that's gonna blow someone's, well, not
Look,
even
look.
blow
I
their head
cut
off.
that paper in half. You see that? I
Woo!
cut that paper in half.
How many shots was that? Just one?
No, that wasn't one. That was maybe, I think my shotguns hold 7 shots in it. Boom. Boom.
Loving that wrist action.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Now I'm kind of like nervous now because England ain't got no firearms. So how y'all do y'all gangster movies then with no guns?
What do you mean? How do we do the gangster movies?
What? So only gangsters in England carry guns?
Listen, not even gangsters are supposed to have guns, but everybody knows that everybody has stuff they're not meant to.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, let me ask you a question quickly then about this whole shooting range malarkey. Let's
Okay.
say I rocked up there and I didn't have a gun. Have they got some there I can borrow while I'm there? Or you've
Yep.
got to take your own gun?
Nope.
Oh, cool.
You can they have where you can take right they have like a wall that has different firearms on it, and you have to take a class before you can go into the range, which is just like a video, short video.
Mhm.
Write your little consent form, sign the consent form. And the thing about that is though, if you get off the wall, that means you got to buy the rounds, you got to buy the ammo for that. So that's how they kind of get you.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do got some really nice ones in there that you can just pull off, and they give you like an hour of shooting time.
An hour?
Mm-hmm.
How much is it for an hour?
Girl, I couldn't tell you. I gotta look at the receipt. I get excited when I go there.
Oh, you just don't care. You just flash your card and you're like, sod it, I'll have an hour.
Yupper. Yeah, pretty much. I get excited. It's like my stress reliever. I get to shoot them up, bang bang.
Nice.
But that was my weekend. That was my weekend, though.
Get it? Well, I'm glad you watched the same fight as me.
Me too. Cause you know what? I
It is
thought about
literally,
I thought about you, but it was late. I thought about you. I was like, you know what? The fight started at like 10 here, so it's about they only had like one undercard fight, which was trash. And um and then they went right into the fight. I was like really impressed because normally they have like 3 fights under the undercard. Like the undercard has like 3 fights. It was only one.
listen,
And
I'm telling you for a fact, it does. I remember, I want to say it was Mike Tyson's fight that was on at like 5 o'clock in the morning here. This is years ago. So we all went to my friend's house to watch the fight. And I'm telling you, everybody fell asleep apart from me. I was there in the telly. Yes, let's go. No sleep for me. If I want to watch it, I'm watching it.
Well, man, I'm gonna have to remind you next
And
time the
let's be
fight comes
fair,
on.
it was inevitable that we were going to watch it. UK versus USA. Come on, that is what we're about across the pond. It was across
Across the
the
pond. Yo, just think about that. From across the pond, we were both watching a fight at the same time. Who could have thunk that? You can't even make that up.
You can't. You cannot.
Awesome.
Exactly. So, going back to our last show about
Yes.
TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I'd like to make a public apology to Ted Danson because I got his name up with Tom Selleck. And I'm telling you, the amount of comments that we have had, messages that we've received.
Yes.
I'm going to just put it out there. I am really terrible with names. So I generally give people nicknames or associate them with something till I remember their name. I have always got Tom Selleck and Ted Danson mixed up. I don't know why. It's just the thing. So, Ted, me old mate, I'm so sorry. This is a public apology because I've literally got it in the neck. How have I got them mixed up? So,
yeah, go
that's
ahead.
the first point. I'm very sorry to him. Second point is, we're going to have to do this show on the same subject for the simple matter is we've been inundated with stuff that we missed.
Yeah, we had a lot of people chime in and said, what about this show?
Yeah, and I think we were so worried about keeping within an hour because somebody had gone over because of the president. So yeah, we was a bit of a stickler. So this is TV shows part 2.
Right. Which we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because we did express a lot of shows.
Yeah,
but when we got off the air though, there was some shows that I missed that I really liked as a kid.
Okay. Can I just say a specific request has come in. Can I ask Richard, did he watch the Red Hand Gang?
And I'm going to say no, because I don't even know what the Red Hand Gang was.
Me either.
What is the Red Hand Gang?
Apparently an American show that you would definitely know about. It might be a little bit before my time and I wouldn't know about it anyway because it's an American show. But apparently you would definitely know about it.
Well, guess what? I'm writing it down because I'm going to see. You said Red Hand?
The Red Hand Gang. Well, you heard it here, folks, first.
Yes, I've never heard of it. But I have had some shows down here that I got excited and we missed them and I wrote them down.
I'm telling you, I've got a whole heap. In fact, my mum asked me to ask you about Quincy.
Oh, that was my show. Well, actually not my show, but my daddy's show. So guess what? Yeah, I watched that. He was like a forensic dude, but he was doing like detective stuff, which was blowing my mind. I was like, yo.
And there was another one called Colombo. He had a dodgy eye.
Yup, he had a raincoat and he carried a cigar. He was a detective and he was smooth with it. He was smooth with it. I love Colombo. I still watch Colombo right now on TV land.
But he's the guy with the dodgy eye, right?
Yeah, he used to squint with the cigar. Yeah, but he was smooth and he was smart. And he get you telling on yourself. He was famous for having you tell on yourself.
Well, like I said, it's a little bit before my time. My mum sent those two in to ask.
So, well, guess what? Your mom is probably the same age as my daddy. And one thing about it, back then, parents did watch TV.
They did because TV was better. It was worth watching then.
That is true. Okay. I have to agree. Reality shows is out the window, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm not boycotting them because there is some reality shows I like.
Listen, we're going to do a whole new show on reality shows because that needs a whole topic on its own.
Oh, yeah. Without question.
Okay, so hit me with one of yours.
I know this is before your time. The Doberman Gang, which was these Doberman pinchers.
Doberman, like the dog?
Yeah, and they were dogs that robbed banks.
Was it a cartoon?
No, it was a live action joint, Doberman Gang.
Whoa there. Real live action of dogs.
Real live action Doberman pinchers, they train to rob banks.
Could the dogs speak?
No, honey, no talking dogs.
You're gonna have to YouTube me a clip or something because I just don't get it.
And then I'm gonna tell you, as a kid, because you know when you poor and you watch certain shows, you just be like, oh my God, I want to race car bed. Silver Spoons with Ricky Schroeder was my show. Oh, his daddy was paid. I don't know if his daddy was like a therapist or something, but they lived in this mansion, and oh my God, my man had all kinds of stuff in his crib.
I'm not gonna lie, the only silver spoons I know are the ones that are in my cutlery drawer in the kitchen.
You would have to say, see, that's why they're States movies. You know.
Okay, well,
talking about.
What about? Okay, remember in the last show we was talking about Happy Days, Roseanne. They were all the ones that were running the evening. I couldn't for love nor money. My brain weren't working properly, so
Yeah.
I couldn't think of one to go that was similar to Happy Days. Right? Soon as we was off there, what happened? The old brain kicked in.
Like me, I did the same thing.
Okay, do you know what it was?
What?
The Wonder Years.
Stop it. Because guess what? I think I had a serious crush on Winnie Cooper, yo. Winnie Cooper was it for me. I was just like, yo, I was a young buck when that came out. I was like, yeah, get it. Love me some Winnie Cooper.
Okay, so you're letting out your childhood crushes. Cool.
Yeah, childhood crush, it happens. But how about this though?
Hold on, if you're talking about childhood crushes, what about Saved by the Bell? I used to like the curly-haired dude who's gone on to be like a TV presenter and stuff.
What is his name?
Mario, I want to say.
Mario?
Yeah. Is it? Oh.
But I'm going to tell you, there was 2 shows. No, it's 3 shows that I watched as a kid, and they were by far cult classics.
Okay, well, you're really playing them up here, so let's hope they're worth it. Let's go.
Okay. Good Times with JJ. Don't know that show.
I'm not going to lie, I've heard of it, but
it's an all-black show, and they was in the projects. Good Times.
Okay, I watched black shows, the Cosby Show.
I didn't say you didn't. I just said it was just an all-black show.
Ooh, okay, next.
And then you had What's Happening with Rerun and Raj, and that was hilarious because he had a mom that was no joke, and his sister used to always tell on him.
Okay.
And then you had the Jeffersons. Moving on up.
The Jeffersons. Now that is ringing a bell, but like I said,
with Wheezy. Oh, Jeffersons, and they had the British neighbor. I can't even think of his name, but they had the British neighbor, and then they had an interracial couple that lived upstairs. And then, oh man, it was great. It was a great shirt. The dude, I met Sherman Helmsley, who played Jefferson.
Oh, nice.
I met him. I took him around. I used to work at the hotel when I first got in the military, and he happened to be. I don't know if have you ever watched Oz? Oh. I mean, The Wiz. I'm sorry, The Wiz.
The Wiz? No, that's an airline.
The Wiz is an airline?
Yeah, we have Wiz Airline here.
Oh well, The Wiz was the black version of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
And Sherman Helmsley played the wizard.
The only Sherman I know is Sherman Clump from Nutty Professor. Sorry.
And Michael Jackson played in The Wiz.
Get in.
Oh yeah, get in.
Well, they are American shows that unfortunately I either was too young for, or were. Yeah, I didn't see them. We might not have even had them here, because I'm telling you, this next one was a classic here, and I bet you didn't have it over there. It was normally on a Sunday afternoon. It was called Wurzel Gummidge.
I'm gonna tell you right now, no.
And do you know what it was? It was a scarecrow, right? It was a scarecrow, and he used to be able to take his head off. So basically, in the shed, he had loads of different heads. So say he was going to meet the queen, he would go like this, pop his head off, and then pop another one back on. So like depending on what look he was going to. And he had a girlfriend called Aunt Sally, who was another like scarecrow chick. She never took her head off, but it was amazing. And we have a chain of restaurants here called the Harvester, right? And when we was a kid, the Harvester up the road used to have life-size statues of Wurzel Gummidge and Aunt Sally waving like this. That's the only reason I love to go. Wurzel Gummidge.
I'm gonna tell you, there was 2 shows back in the day that was really good too, and that was the Brady Bunch.
We had that.
And the Partridge Family.
Partridge Family.
It was a family that was like a band, and they would travel on the road.
All in the same truck? I think I'm getting them mixed up with the Waltons.
No, the Waltons, they lived on a farm. But Partridge Family and the Brady Bunch.
Who was the ones like hillbillies that all drive on the same car?
The Beverly Hillbillies.
They actually are hillbillies. Was that a show?
Yeah, that was a show, Beverly Hillbillies.
See, then I've dropped another name in there.
Yeah, you sure did. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brady Bunch. What?
What about
Red Hand Gang? I got that circled. I got that.
Oh my God. Listen, if you didn't see this next one, then there's going to have to be problems because you got to have seen it. The Hulk. That was amazing.
Bill Bixby?
Matey would just be like,
the Hulk.
Turn green, rip his top off, rip his jeans off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you one that you probably seen, and if you haven't seen it, shame on you, Highway to Heaven.
Who's in that?
The dude from Little House on the Prairie, the dad. I can't think of the dad's name, but Highway to Heaven was my grandma's show, and I'm telling you right now, that used to scare me. I don't know. I was a kid, so that used to scare me.
I'm really sorry, Grandma Payne, but no.
Highway to Heaven. I'm going to have to shoot you a clip of Highway to Heaven.
Okay, what about Beverly Hills 90210?
Yeah, that was a teeny bopper show.
Yeah, and it was boring, but, you know.
What about this? Since you're going to teeny bopper, remember, have you ever watched this? It was kind of like a teenage soap opera. It was called Swans Queen. It was called, Swans Creek. It was supposed to be like a teenage soap opera.
You mean Dawson's Creek?
No, I remember that show. But this was actually like a soap opera, but it was geared towards teens, and it was called Swans Creek.
Swans Creek?
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it.
It didn't last too long. But I did watch Dawson's Creek, though.
Yeah, there was another one similar to that one there, a little bit afterwards.
That was a little teeny bopper-ish for me, though, because I was running the street. I did watch it.
Most of the other ones are more now, but what about that one Dinosaurs, where that little thing used to keep saying "not the mama" all the time? Is that what it was called, Dinosaurs?
And you know Sherman Helmsley was in that.
Sherman Klump was in that too?
Yes. He played the boss.
The boss? The dad of the family?
Not the dad. The dad's boss he played.
The dad, wasn't he that big guy that was in Roseanne?
I couldn't tell you. But I do remember the show.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna give you one.
Have you got any old ones? Because I've only got newer ones now.
Okay, Punky Brewster. Did y'all watch that? Punky Brewster.
Punky Brewster.
Mm-hmm.
The hell was that?
It was this girl. It was a girl. It was a little girl. I don't know if she was adopted or something, but it was a pretty good show back in the day.
Brewster's a boy's name.
Punky Brewster was the girl's name. And she always had this like jean jacket. It was like a girly show, but I watched it.
Own that. Why not? Yeah, I'm done with old ones. I've just got new ones like.
Did you ever watch Charles in Charge?
Trolls in Charge.
Charles in charge of my days and my nights. Charles in charge. The same dude. Remember Happy Days? Remember Chachi?
I love Chachi.
Well, he had his own show called Charles in Charge.
If they'd have said it was Chachi in charge, I'd have watched it, but no.
He probably would.
Who's Charles when he's at home?
Mm-hmm.
What about? Okay, let's just finish. Have you got any other old ones?
I Dream of Jeannie. It was this guy that had a genie in a bottle, and she was living with him, and she would like grant him wishes and stuff. And Bewitched, that was another old show.
Yeah, but she used to go like that with her nose.
I can't even do it. Yeah. You know, they remade that with Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell remade that into a movie.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
I bet it was a flop, wasn't it? Okay, so what about nowadays? We've got things like You. Have you seen You?
Yes.
Love You. There's a new season coming out.
I love it. I can't wait. I'm addicted to You.
Are you? Oh my God, look at me.
Stop it. How about Dear John?
Love Dear John, and there is it's actually Dirty John.
Yeah, Dirty John. That was dope.
But there's also a second season of that come out that I need to watch. But yeah, that was.
And I'm gonna tell you a show that I did like in the beginning, but then they just I couldn't keep up with it, and that was Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah, I never got into that.
And they had a couple spin-offs that I didn't really like.
Did you ever watch ER?
Of course.
Okay, I didn't. I just thought about it when you said the Grey's Anatomy.
It had one of my female crushes on it.
That
Michelle,
Chinese name. He's in Killing Eve. You into Killing Eve?
Yes, I love Killing Eve, but how I'm watching it now, I'm watching on a streaming service, and I can't seem to get into it because the streaming service is like watching on regular TV, all the commercials and stuff. But I like it though.
You lot have loads of commercials over there, man. That would get.
No, man, we got more commercials than the actual show.
It would get on my absolute last nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Loved Power. Let me just get that in there.
Oh yeah, Ghost.
St. Patrick.
Tommy and I'm trying to get through the new one with Tyreek. I really am.
Oh, I haven't started it yet. Is it any good?
It's good. That's all I'm gonna say.
As good as Power, or not really, or just different?
You just can't replace certain characters, and that's why I think it's hurting the show. But I see the premise why, but
I'm still living in hope that Tommy isn't actually dead, like, because you didn't actually see the body, and 50 Cent came back from being burnt in a building, so surely they can bring Ghost back, man. Come on.
Amen. And I want my boy Tommy to come back. I don't care nobody.
He's got his own show. He's going to have his own spin-off show.
I hope so.
But anyway, we mentioned another couple of other programs. We said about The Good Doctor, which I really hope they do another series of that. It hasn't been mentioned either way. And then I said English version is the A Word. You said American one is Atypical. I ain't gonna lie, I started watching Atypical, and I said to myself, okay, let's give it a go-kart and see what it's like. I watched one. It's only on for like 30 minutes, so it's quite easy to watch 6 in one go.
Tell me what you think.
I really love the boy. I really love the boy. And this is the problem, you see, when they have shows like that, The Good Doctor, Atypical, or the A Word, I just automatically love the character, the autistic character in the show. I'm not going to lie, I've probably cried at every single episode of Atypical so far. And if the general public watched it, they'd probably be like, why are you crying? But I look at...
Why were you crying?
Because I look at it and it makes me think about my son.
Okay.
Because I just think, because my son is autistic, and I just think, oh my God, will that be the same for him? Like in Atypical, he's on a mission at the minute to get a girlfriend, and he does things like writes list pros and cons about the girls, and he then starts getting really frustrated and upset because he's not ready for it yet. And what if it goes wrong? And I just think to myself, oh no, what if what if that happens to Alfie? You know, that's
Mhm.
how I think when I watch these programs.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions. Like, how did you know that your son Alfie was, how did you know that like he was, end up having, autism?
Um, well, I used to work in a nursery and was a nanny, so I knew like the whole curriculum thing about stages that they're at certain ages and all this because I'd studied it. And when Alfie was about 18 months, he wasn't saying anything. He didn't wave, he didn't point.
Hmm.
Um, and then I don't know if it's the same there, but they have a yearly check with the health clinic and then a 2-year check with the health clinic to see if they've met all their um, development areas, I suppose.
Okay.
So they wrote a letter on for his 2-year check and said, "We're really sorry, we're so busy. There's not enough staff to do his 2-year check. So can you fill in this questionnaire?" The answer was no to everything. I knew that there was something not right because he wasn't doing anything.
Hmm.
So I just filled it in. No, he doesn't eat a varied diet. No, he doesn't speak. No, he doesn't wave. No, he doesn't point. No, he doesn't do this. Posted it back.
Hmm.
Within a day, they called me. Okay, we're sending, all of a sudden they've got enough staff to send somebody out. So they sent a lady out, and she was actually half an hour late. So he'd fallen asleep by the time she got there. So she said, "It's fine. I'll just ask you questions." So she asked me all these questions. Can you do this? No. Can you do this? No, 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 no. So she said, "Okay, we're going to have to come back and see him again when he's awake." So they came back and she brought this other lady with her. Two of them came,
Hmm.
and he cried the whole time. A, because they were strange people, and B, they were trying to make him do things, trying to make him build a tower, trying to make him climb up the stairs, because they wanted to see, can he do it or not. um
Right.
so they then said, okay, well, obviously there's something not right, so we're going to refer you to the hospital.
Hmm.
So they referred him to a pediatrician, and he had to go to hospital every day for a week and have different tests, like speech therapy, uh, psychologist, different people, saw somebody different every day. And then on the last day, the pediatrician said, he had this massive file, like ridiculously massive file. And he was like, okay, we've done all our tests. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that Alfie is autistic. I have to put him on the severe end of the scale because of his lack of communication, lack of understanding, lack of speech.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't, okay, people might think I'm naive, but I went in there thinking, okay, there's going to be something wrong, but they'll say, we just need to do X, Y, and Z, and then he'll be fine.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, but when he learns to talk, that'll be fine because he'll understand more and everything will be fine. And he just looked at me and said, you need to understand that potentially he may never speak. He may only ever make sounds, or he only may ever say the odd word.
Hmm.
Um, and then he gave me a massive envelope full of papers, probably about this thick, and said, take this home. I know it's a lot for you to take in. Take this home, read through these leaflets and stuff whenever you're ready.
Hmm.
We'll be in contact for another appointment, blah, blah. If I tell you, I didn't even open that envelope for about 10 months. I just didn't want to know. And it's not that I didn't want to know, I just didn't want to know what it had to say. So I just, and you could, like in this program, the A Word, the mum totally buries her head in the sand.
Hmm.
She's almost like, if we don't talk about it, then he hasn't got it, he'll be fine. And I'm not saying that I was like that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't want to read what it had to say, I suppose.
So my question is like, what level of autism is Alfie at? Because isn't there different levels of autism?
The spectrum is massive, and it, like any child that is of 100% bill of health, no two children with autism are the same.
Right, right.
Um, like when he got diagnosed when he was 2, which I found out is really early to be diagnosed. They don't normally diagnose children until they're 5.
Mhm.
Um, he said at that point, Alfie was on the severe end because of his lack of understanding, lack of communication, and lack of speech. obviously Alfie's going to be 9 in January, so his understanding and his speech has got a little bit better. So whether he's moved on the scale,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, I mean, he's got autism and he's got a sensory processing disorder.
Okay, so what does that mean when you say sensory processing disorder?
It means like how me and you hear things, feel things,
Mm-hmm.
taste things, like all our senses.
Mm-hmm.
His are completely different. And this is going to sound like a terrible comparison, but it's the only thing I can think of that people would understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, like people who have dogs have that dog whistle, and if they blow it, dogs can hear it, but human ears can't.
Right.
Alfie's hearing is like that. He hears things totally differently to how we hear things. So if I literally was to click my fingers like this, he might start crying because it's really hurting his ears.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. His speech is really limited, so he can't actually tell me what it's like. But I watch and read so much stuff because I don't, I'm learning stuff about it every day still.
Mm-hmm.
And I read something once that there was a teenage boy, and they were interviewing him on a program, and he basically said he only has a bath, he can't have a shower because when the water hits his skin from the shower, it feels like needles pricking him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then that might not be the same for the next autistic person. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Well, I have a godson. His name is TJ. He's 5 years old. He is a high functioning autism young man. And it's pretty much the same thing as what you're going through. His mother and his father are going through it. But I mean, he says some words though. He's very bright. He says some words. He has a high sensory type of thing too, where like, when you hug a person, like you can't hug him gently because then it bothers him. But if you give him like a bear hug, oh,
but if you listen on that Atypical, that's what, because the main character, the boy, is like narrating the show at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I don't like people touching me. If you're going to touch me, you have to apply pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Alfie's funny. So, like, it's Alfie's literally done everything. Basically, they said he wouldn't. Like they were saying, oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
won't know the difference between emotion. He won't show emotion. Blah blah blah. This that or the other. He does. He totally does. Sometimes he likes it if you tickle his, like, just stroke his back up and down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is a bit of a lush. I'm not going to lie. He loves to have attention from women.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I going to say about him? What did you say in the beginning? I can't remember.
Like what stage of autism that he's at? That's what I asked earlier.
It's not that I couldn't tell you. It's just that it changes all the time.
Right, right.
And that's what I was going to say actually about the speech. Like Alfie understands absolutely everything you
Right.
say. Like ridiculous. Like he understands more than I know that he
Mm-hmm.
understands.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't get it out, like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
he wants a drink, he'll say juice, or I've got him to, like, manners is a big thing, so he'll say juice please,
Mm-hmm.
sandwich please, food please. But he could then be gibbering away and not even I have a clue what he's saying. He's talking as if, like babies just jabber away. You don't know what they're saying. But I'm telling you for a fact, he can sing a song word for word and you would understand exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I said to the speech therapist, how is that possible? That he can't talk, but he can sing. Do you know what I mean? And you can
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
and clearly understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
She said it's because it uses a different part of your brain. It's to
Mm-hmm.
do with phonics and rhythm. So, like, if someone's got a stammer or a stutter, when they
Mm-hmm.
sing, they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It uses a different part of his brain to sing than you do to talk. And I was just like, mind blown.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I love me some TJ, but he is all boy. He is rough and he likes to jump around. I mean, he is the man. But you know what gets me? I'm fascinated by him because the simple fact of the matter is, I watched him one day, babysat him one day, and him and his sister, and he was trying. He was trying to tell me what he wanted, and I couldn't really understand. He was going, never mind. It was kind of like he was giving me like, but then he's learning sign language too. So there's some
Mhm.
sign language that he was doing that I got. And I was like, okay, you want something to drink? Oh, okay, get it. But then if you, because like when the quarantine was jumping off, and you know how like we all met through TikTok or whatever, I got into TikTok because that little boy was doing TikToks all by himself, and
Oh
he was
my God.
like,
So I need to thank him. Otherwise, we would never have met.
right, and he was doing stuff like, for the simple fact, like he had a TikTok that I complete. I mean, I'm fascinated and I love him to death. He had a TikTok where he pretty much directed everybody how to do it, and then did the TikTok. And I mean, that TikTok went through the roof, and he ain't said a word. He don't say a word. He ain't said a word in it, but he'll tell you, like, he'll grab you and say, "Go over there." He'll tell the other person, "Go over there,"
This is the thing.
and then he
You
just
know,
and
when
he
you
is
spend
like in
time with
it.
somebody who is autistic, you get to not like Alfie. I don't. Maybe it's just because I'm his mum and I'm in tune with him. I don't know, but I know when he wants something or when he's trying to say, well, not okay. There are times where I don't know what he wants, and that's when it gets frustrating because he'll gesture that he wants something, and I'll say, "Is it this? No. Is it this? No." And then he'll start to get frustrated. But I mean, if you think about it, if we want something and no one understands what we want, we get frustrated. So it must be just as 10 times as hard for them. Um, but yeah, that's the only time he gets frustrated if he can't get out or communicate what he
Yeah,
wants.
but I
Um,
tell you,
but I know, even if he's got some sort of gibberish sometimes, I'll know what he says. And people will say, "How do you know that that's what he wants?" I can't explain it. You just get in tune with them. It's funny.
yeah, and I kid you not, I'm fast. I love him. I'm fascinated because he is super fast and he's rock solid for a 5-year-old. He is rock solid. But you know what though? He does say some words. Like he knows me. You know what I mean? He says certain words are very, very clear, like hello and hi, and but he knows how to work that phone and them tablets. Mm.
Well, yeah,
And
this
then
is the thing.
and he's such a sweetie pie too.
People moan about modern technology, but I think Alfie's speech has been helped because of like his tablet and stuff. Like he watches educational. I'm not going to lie, he does watch cartoons or Paw Patrol or whatever on there sometimes, but other times he does watch educational stuff, and learns about spelling and maths. I've watched him play some games on there, like educational games, and I've thought, how do you know how to do that? Because I haven't taught you. Like there was one where it's like a grid with different colored dots on. So like say two blue, two green, two yellow, and they're literally all over the place. You have
Mm,
to join the colored dots to each other by drawing a line with your finger, but you can't cross any two lines over. And
mhm.
I watched him get up to like level 10, the next level you go up to, the harder it gets. I just sat there watching him thinking, how do you know how to do that? Because I haven't told you, you
Mm.
know. So
Let me ask you this because TJ is in a regular classroom with other, regular kids. I'm not saying that he's irregular, but I'm saying he's in a class with other normal kids, and um he gets along very well with other kids, and he has a speech
therapist.
therapist as well. So does he um go to a regular class with like other kids, or is it a special
No,
class for autism, or
Alfie goes to a special school, not even just a special class, a
oh
special
yeah.
school. And even then, like the therapists or whatever, when he was after he got diagnosed, said, okay, we need to decide is he going to go to a special needs school, or does he need to go to a mainstream school? And I was saying, no, he can go to a main school. It's fine. He'll be fine, you know. And then when they started doing the test, I was like, okay, fine. He can go to a special needs school for the first year. Then he'll be fine. He can go to a normal school. But I remember the day that the therapist went to his nursery. She said, I need to speak to you first before I observe him, because she just wanted to observe him in the setting and take some notes. I mean, she was so serious. So we sat in the room. She was asking me all these questions, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, has he had any chromosome testing? Which he has, because when he got diagnosed with autism, they said he had a chromosome abnormality. And they had to do testing to see, was the chromosome abnormality linked to autism, or did he have an additional health issue?
Yeah.
It was linked to autism, so, you know, it was fine. Well, not fine, but you know what I mean? He didn't have anything additional. So she said, have you had any chromosome testing? And I said, yes. When it came back, it was sure. Okay, I don't know if you know, I'm going to get technical on science now. So every cell in your body has got a parallel set of chromosomes, 23 from the mom, 23 from the dad in every single cell, right? So when they tested it, they found out that Alfie had too many number 17.25 chromosomes, right? But me and his dad had to have testing when it came to his chromosome testing. Transpires, I have exactly the same. Too many number 17.25 chromosomes. So me and Alfie have got exactly the same chromosomes, but it hasn't affected me in the same way as affected him.
Right.
So anyway, when the woman was there, he had this test, and I was like, yes, and this is what they found out. So she looked at her pad and she went, how do you feel about that? How do you feel that you have the same chromosomes as Alfie and it hasn't affected you the same way as it has him? And I thought to myself, oh my God, is she like interviewing me, or is she come about my son? So I just had a deep breath and I said to her, do you know what? They say that autistic people are overly brainy. So I can say it's scientifically proven that he's got his brains from his mum.
Wait.
Do you know what? She didn't even crack a smile. She just went,
Well, I want to say that I think that is wonderful that TJ and Alfie have very supportive parents. And, you know, because some people, you know, when they have kids, sometimes they frown upon, you know, why aren't their kids as normal as other kids and stuff like that. And, you know, and sometimes they give that kid a hard time, or they have a hard time with it. Do you think you had a hard time when you found out that he had a disability?
let's be honest,
Such as autism?
nobody wants their child to have anything wrong with them.
Right.
And even though I knew that something was wrong, I just kept saying it'll be fine. They'll find out what's wrong with him. They'll do this, and it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. He'll be fine. He can go to a special needs school for a year, then he'll be fine. You know. It's not that I buried my head in sand. I mean, when we went for the chromosome testing, and she said he's got exactly the same as me, and she actually, the doctor, she was very harsh. She, you know, the doctor's talking doctor speak, which you can't really understand. So she was going all these big words throwing out there, looking at her pad, and then all of a sudden, I said, "What does that mean?" And she said, "He's got too many number 17.5 chromosomes, and he gets it from the mum." And literally looked at me like that, and I was like, "Oh my!" I cried all the way home. And I remember at the time, his dad. I mean, we're not together anymore, but his dad said, "What are you crying for?" And I was like, "Well, it's my fault. It's all my fault, you know." And he was like, "Well, it's not. You've just got the same genes." And I said, "Listen, if the boot was on the other foot, I'm sure you would be thinking the same thing." She's just literally glared in my face and said, "He gets it from you. You've got exactly the same, you know." So yeah, I did feel really bad, you know. And I mean, even now, like my own dad comes to visit, and like Alfie's very much a lone ranger. Like he likes to play on his own. He likes to be on his own. I mean, sometimes I can't even play with him because he just, I'll tell you what, there's been a couple of times, say he's got his cars and his trains out, and I'm like, oh, let me just go and play with him. So I'll go and sit down and he'll look at me move the cars and turn around, carry on playing. I'll think, okay, leave it for a second. So then I'll try again. I kid you not, he stands up, picks up all the cars like this, and then just goes into another room as if to say, leave me alone. I want to play on my own.
Like
But he
I'm
is quite
chilling,
noisy,
Mom.
like car noises. But my dad will sit there and say, oh, God, darling, I don't know how you do it. How do you put up with that? And I'm like, he's my son. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do I put up with that? And he's like, oh, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, to brighten up your day, while we're sitting here, I'm gonna tell you some famous people with autism. We're just to name a few.
Okay,
We
because I know
got
a few.
we got Dan Aykroyd, who's a
Exactly.
famous comedian,
Yeah,
has
and he was in Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Woody Allen, who is
Yes,
a writer and producer and director. We
correct.
have Tim Burton, Nightmare Before
Oh,
Christmas.
Christmas now.
Edward Scissorhand
Mm.
has autism. Courtney Love, who was, a rock star
I
in
mean,
her own right.
it was a bit crazy though. Let's be
Yeah,
fair.
well, I mean, in her own right, she's a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, Kurt Cobain, was the man. And then you have someone that people probably didn't know, Jerry Seinfeld
Mm-hmm.
has autism.
Did you know
And
that Sir Anthony Hopkins has autism?
that's what I'm talking about. And then you have someone who is a world renowned, Albert Einstein.
I know. And did you know that he didn't actually speak until he was 6?
You dig what I'm saying? So I just want to give some shout outs to these wonderful parents who have all kids with autism. Keep doing what you're doing because you never know. They might turn around and pay you back with a whole
Exactly,
lot of
because
love.
Mozart had autism and he wrote his first music piece when he was 5.
You dig what I'm saying? So
You know,
guess
the only
what?
thing
I always look at stuff like this.
Hmm,
In their eyes, we're the weird ones.
true, but the thing that always gets me is people always ask, oh my God, what's his special talent? Because 9 times out of 10 they are connect. Okay, have you seen The Rain Man, the film?
Yeah, of
So
course.
obviously Tom Cruise takes is it Tom Cruise?
Yeah, you're right.
Tom Cruise takes the guy to the
His
casino
brother.
because he's got a number thing, right? Now I'm going to tell you about that film. After Alfie got diagnosed, someone said, I'm not going to lie, I'd never heard of autism really until Alfie. I'm not being naive. It just wasn't a thing when we was younger.
Mhm.
So they were like, oh, watch The Rain Man. I have no idea why. I thought it was a comedy. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a
Mhm.
comedy. So I thought, yeah, let's watch it. I cried like an absolute baby because the guy was like, oh my God, it's Monday, 5 o'clock pizza. Where's my pizza? I need, because it's so regimental. And it just reminded me of Alfie because you can set your clock by him to have your dinner through, every day because he eats at the same time, same food, a bit like that guy. I'm not going to lie, I cried like a baby, but it's programs or films like that make people think, well, what is his special talent?
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean to say, I mean, don't get me wrong, Alfie's amazing with numbers like you wouldn't believe, but that's the thing that gets me is people always say, oh God, what's his special talent? Or I can't stand the pity face. Like as soon as
Yeah.
someone will say,
Oh,
oh my God, it must be so hard for you. And I think, please don't look at me like that. That's our life. We haven't known any different since Alfie's been on this planet. So as much as looking from the outside looking in, people would think, Jesus, that's hard. That's just how it is. That's just our life. That's how we cope with it. Yeah, and I know they're only being nice, but yeah, I don't like the pity face.
eggs you, huh? Get you eggy.
But I've got one other thing to say about it. Did you know that Robert De Niro actually has an autistic son, and he has campaigned for love nor money to try and get it proven, if you like, that it is linked to the vaccine? Because everyone says that was a big thing actually.
Mhm.
Probably about 20 years ago, I do remember this in the news, where I don't know if it's the same for you guys there, but we have, when the babies are 1, they have MMR jab, so measles, mumps, rubella, all in one go.
Okay.
And that's what he's basically, they were saying at the time, it's linked, to autism after you've had this jab, blah, blah. It's a big thing about it. He's
Well, I
trying
don't
to,
know if my son's ever got that, or I'm gonna have to ask, TJ's parents if he ever got that as a
well,
child.
this is the thing. Alfie did have it. And just like if you will listen to Robert De Niro in his interviews, he says his son, it was almost like a light switch. Like after the jab, not necessarily the jabs one day and then the next day this happened, but coincidentally around the same time, and it was exactly the same for Alfie. Like Alfie used to do the whole mum, dad, blah, 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 waving after, and he used to eat anything and everything you gave him. Like he'd eat the same as we did, but obviously maybe blended up a bit smaller. After his MMR jab, it was literally like a switch. He didn't do anything, didn't eat, didn't say anything, just almost like he went backwards. Whether it is related or not, I will never know. Sometimes I feel guilty, like, should I have given him the injections or not? But I can't
Well,
take it back now.
there's no rule books in parenting. We try to do what's best for our children. I mean, I had a similar situation with my child. My youngest child had leukemia, and it changed everybody's life for the 4 years that he had it. But I believe in treating your child as if, just give them love and you treat them as normal as possible. And that's how I think my son got through his cancer phase. He's 19 now and he's doing good. You know what I mean? He runs around, does everything everybody else does. But in that time frame, it was rough. You know what I mean? You as a parent, you just feel hopeless. Like there's nothing you can do. You just you're like resting on whatever the doctors tell you.
Yeah,
And you
and
just
this
have
is
to
the
go
thing,
with it.
like, because
So
Alfie doesn't really speak, I say all the time, I will be his voice until he finds his own. I
right.
don't care if I am that annoying mum at the school every day, moaning, complaining, whatever. I don't care. I will be my son's voice until he finds his own. And I will
That's
annoy him every day with kisses, telling him I love him, because I know it gets on his nerves, but
yeah. Go ahead, mama.
I will. I've nothing. This is, I swear to God, unconditional love. That is my son. Anybody try, like, somebody said to me once, am I worried that he's going to get picked on when he's older? And I said, oh, what you mean, because he's autistic? And they said, well, no, because he's not just that, but because he's mixed race. And I was like, what? That never even come into my brain. But
I'm gonna tell you right now, TJ, I don't think anybody gonna mess with TJ because DJ is off the chain. That boy is rougher than any little kid I've ever met. I want to call him Bam Bam every time I see him because he's strong as an ox, and he ain't letting nothing go by. If you
thing is,
go
though,
ahead and mess with him if you want to.
that Flintstone cartoon, how do you know that kid didn't have autism? Because he didn't say anything. He
You
just
just
went
said
around
Bam
fighting
Bam,
that stick.
Bam 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 Bam, and he was strong as an
Exactly.
ox. Well, look here, people. We just want to say to Alfie, TJ, and all the other children out there and the parents, hats off to you guys. We love you guys. And keep doing what you're doing, parents. And like I said, like we named off a couple of famous people, you never know. They'll turn around and pay you back with more than love. As you can see, we're getting ready to close this up. But if you ain't noticed,
Cheers. We've had a lovely show.
cheers. We had a lovely show. And if you ain't noticed in the background, we got magnets that we are passing out to some of our well-known supporters.
Nearest and dearest, yeah.
Yeah. So
We got merch
this is
coming.
Soph. Oh, yeah. This is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are
Across
from across the
pond.
pond.
See you on Friday, Rich. Have an amazing week.
Hey, you too.
Don't work too hard.
Don't. You know
No.
I don't.
Enjoy your mug.